Okay, let's take a look and check on DBD real quick. Let's see how it's doing right now. Oh, hold on. That's not good. Hey guys, what's up? Game Pizza Boy, host of the Pizza Party. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing fantastic today, and I'm back for, well, another DBD video. First of all, yes, I know, I have been absent from Dead by Daylight for quite a while. I just haven't really dedicated much time on the game a bit, not buying much, not playing much of the game, and honestly, rightfully so, because of how pretty pitiful DBD's been going down with how many different issues been brought to attention, so it's definitely been a situation. But with the recent announcement that got brought up and then a couple other things that just kind of got brought to my attention a little bit more on my own time, I just want to make a video discussing this because I love DBD so much and it's one of my favorite games, and just seeing where it's going is just not making me feel any happy, and I just want to go through it all and discuss it with you. So I'm not going to waste any time. Let's get right into it. Let's discuss it and allow me to get you up to speed about what is going on here and what is happening right now with DBD as a whole. And we'll start with the main focus of this bunch, the recent announcement of a chapter, a licensed chapter that is sadly, unfortunately, going to be leaving DBD. This is the third one ever to leave. If you haven't heard the news, Dead by Daylight just announced that on January 19th, 2026, Halloween, one of the first licensed chapters to be released for DBD a long way back ago, will now be leaving DBD for good. In a tweet they had announced on December 15th, 2025, we welcomed the Halloween chapter into the fog with a little over 9 years ago, but the time has come for us to say goodbye to Lambkin Lane. The content of the chapter will leave the in-game and first-party stores on January 19th, 2026. All content unlocked before that date will remain available for players in-game, but the Haddonfield realm will no longer be accessible. To celebrate the time in the fog, the content of the chapter will be on sale on all platforms by December 22nd, giving you a chance to unlock the characters and cosmetics before they leave the store. This news really hits pretty deep for a lot of fans, since obviously Halloween is one of the most popular IPs there to exist, and it's also one of the first ones that got picked out for DBD. This is way back when DBD was still just starting off. It didn't have a big following, not a lot of big craze about it, and was just trying to pick up on its feet. And the fact that this chapter is going away is very sad, and also pretty telling for the future of DBD. Now, look, licenses can happen in many different ways for many games, and sometimes things could just be taken away very easily because of, certain licensing issues. One of these examples of licenses that went away was probably the first one, that was Stranger Things, and it went away due to certain licensing issues between Behavior and Netflix, who also we know owns the Stranger Things IP, and because of this, it resulted in it going away completely. And it was a very big deal for a lot of fans seeing it going away, and who are very huge fans of the IP. And it came back after a lot of outcry. I'm glad very much it is, for sure, but even then it shows the significant issues with how IPs can do can just kind of go out of blue like that. I mean, even more exciting for the fact Stranger Things just announced a chapter 2 that's gonna be happening for DBD, so we're gonna be getting a second chapter for Stranger Things soon. And all we know for sure is going to be obviously Vecna from Stranger Things could be as a killer, definitely for sure. And we don't know much about anything like if any survivors could be involved and if there's going to be any new map, but we just do know about that. Another prime example of also recently a license that went away was the Hellraiser chapter, which is the second one to ever be removed from DBD. Of course, there is obviously reason for why the IP had went away. It's because the fact that the license holder was trying to use the IP with DBD with some NFT related stuff, and there was a lot of controversy on that shit that even Behavior was unaware of until they realized and wanted to clear that up as swiftly as possible. And obviously, because probably due to these conflicts, it resulted in basically a lot of plans that probably could have been for content for the future for this game being completely cut out, canceled behind the scenes probably. And eventually it looks like they just fell through, and now Hellraiser is unfortunately gone, so no one can get a hold of Pinhead or his skins. And it's unfortunate too, because there could be many possibilities of releasing Kirsty Cotton as a survivor, and many other possibilities, maybe adding more of the other Cenobites. There could have been many good possibilities, but now we just don't see that anymore. But even though the licenses all have come and gone, and this has happened, don't get me wrong, this is all part of the business, and it can happen like this before. It has happened, and there's nothing you could do to really stop it. It's just how it goes. That's not my only issue about the situation, because it's not the concern of the IP going away is like the issue. It's the fact that it's showing signs that DBD is not maintaining very well with the game and is having a very bad streak lately about, you know, these decisions right now. And I wanted to go into that right now and discuss a few things that was brought to my attention, specifically just two big ones, but I kind of want to link that up with this too and kind of just explain why this is also going to be a big deal. So let me go through the two big things right now real quick and then discuss kind of my thoughts on it real quick. So to start things up real quick, let me first bring to a small but still quite a little bit of a sting kind of feeling right here when it comes to how very stingy right now DBD is right now at the moment. As you know, usually every year we do have like some kind of special event, you know, for the holidays or special, you know, kind of to celebrate with DBD very much. And one of those is, of course, the Bone Chill event, which is where, you know, they celebrate Christmas. And they have a lot of fun things going on there. I won't go into too much detail on it, but I want to focus on specifically one minor but still kind of stupid thing going on that I feel kind of bad for many of the fans who are about to get treated pretty poorly right now this year. And that is this year's Bone Chill event. It was just announced its in-game event, as you know, every day within the month of like December, they usually have like tons of rewards and stuff like that. Well, take a look at this right here. This is the in-game event Bone Chill, like, you know, for the month right here for this year of 2025. And do you notice how very interesting that the rewards are, by the way? The majority of all this stuff is nothing but blood points, and nothing but blood points. Only 3 days at least there's something unique you get, and you still get blood points on those days, but on, for example, the 9th, you get like 300 iridescent shards and 100 of, I guess, those little certain items are usually themed to the event if you want to grab some cool cosmetics. December 25th gives you 400 iridescent shards, and then December 31st is where you get 300 iridescent shards. Now, why is this such a big deal? Why am I bringing this up, you might ask? You're probably asking, what has this got to do with what's so problematic with right now with DBD? Well, if we pay attention to like previous year ones, we can actually see where this kind of leans to. Here's a good example I'll mention right now. First, here's the season for 2022 of the Bone Chill event. You can notice there's a couple of rift passes right here in some of the days. There's even some iridescent shards, especially more than it, such as the fact that they're given 500, of course, right there. And even on the 25th, Christmas Day, they give you 1,000. Quite a lot, if you ask me, honestly. And there's a lot more from that one compared to at all any of the other, like, you know, holidays. It makes you wonder exactly what is going on right there. Now, take a look at this one right here from 2023. They even give away pretty free badges and then like banners, which is pretty cool on top of that. You can see there's a lot more from that year as well, showing that there was very much care into the event to give people a little some more warning to do. And then here is last year's event right here for 2024. Still plenty of iridescent shards. And honestly, it's still quite a lot right there. So the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's the less care they have right now for the game right now with this rewards right here for the year for this special event. The fact that they can release this and not really have much rewards this time around shows that so much support, dedication from the fans to try to get the game back up and running, their feedback and all that stuff, and the times they still played this game, and yet they want to give these rewards only to the fans? That's all the fans are getting? Like, there's barely any iridescent shards they're getting, which is actually much more worth it than blood points. As you know, blood points is the most common currency you get in the game by just simply playing the game. And you get a lot of this, which is used to help you level up your survivors and killers if you're trying to get to Prestige 100, or if you're just a new player trying to get the perks for your favorite characters right there and get them leveled up, or to get add-ons and certain items. It is a very already most common item you get pretty much. Iridescent shards, however, are pretty tough and rare to get, since you have to only get them through special event and missions and challenges, or usually during these big events like this. Activate. The only other way to basically get iridescent shards is by just simply leveling up to level 100 so you can basically prestige, and it will only give you like a couple iridescent shards. This will take a while to grind for to get XP, and that is a very tedious grind, and iridescent shards are pretty important because this lets you be able to buy skins with it too, and specifically just non-licensed skins. Of course, anything that's licensed you have to buy with real money and get, of course, then with org cells, but the iridescent shards can help you able to get any kind of skin pretty much that are non-licensed. And even also by non-licensed related killers and survivors. So if you are concerned about spending your money and you don't want to buy for a certain chapter, but want to still get access to the killer or survivor for like the perks or some of that, you can use this very heavily to help you out, of course, get it. And this is so fantastic to get your hands on. This is one, but still pretty major reason why there's a lot of backlash right now with DBD, because this is something they're doing intentionally to basically halt the grind very easily even further and just make it difficult for people to really get anything else important they want to get, or get some pretty nice that typically requires a different type of currency without spending money. And this is the only other way to really get this, which just makes this a real pain right there for a lot of players right there. This is not great even for a Christmas-like event like this, and because of this, it led a lot of backlash from many people who think that this was just boring and this is literally just not right, and hell, even just simply just very pathetic, because it just shows that all their support they've done for the game, and what do they get? They just get treated with this completely. Not to mention the fact that literally, like, people are just fed up with everything that's been going on with DBD right now, and it's just really not good right there. But that's not all. That's the reason why that's really hard for the game, and this is one reason I want to mention the most, that I feel is the very big reason why I just can't and I don't want to get back on playing the game right now. And that is probably this. Now, as you see on screen right here, this is the one that I feel that has not only pushed me away from the game until they hopefully get working on getting the game back up into 100%, at a good normal pace, but it's also the reason I think one thing that's getting a lot of people mixed up in so many different ways. I had a full video on this before discussing this before, so if you want to go check it out, you can find it, of course, obviously on the channel, so make sure you go take a look at it. But basically, TLDR, during after the kind of the Walking Dead update, a lot of different updates started rolling in very soon that eventually just started not really doing pretty good. There's a lot of mixed stuff going on. I'm not going to go through it all completely because it's just a lot to do with. But the one that does the most after like one type of PTP/update was the upcoming tunneling reduction and the slugging reduction update, aka the anti-tunneling, anti-slugging update. And basically, they were meant to help out deal with the situations with, tunneling, slugging, stuff like this. And obviously, at the time, this might have been something pretty good to help find a way to make this easier for both survivors and killers, so that it's a fair game for both sides and we can all have a good time. However, they have done poor their job mostly. So on screen right here, these are all the list of everything that basically you can see right here, and I'll read them all real quickly again, and I won't go through too much of a full detail, but I will make a small TLDR mention about what basically makes this very painful to look at. So first, the tunneling reduction update. It states that it will add, for example, for when unhooking for Survivor, they will all gain a 10% haste status effect, endurance status effect, the new elusive status effect, which makes you hidden of your grunts of pain, scratch marks, or reading in pools of blood to the killer and all that stuff. Survivors will no longer make sounds, in other words, coughing, vomiting, etc. They're immune to AFK crows. The aura of the survivor will be hidden, of course, but also the killer's aura will be able to be shown to the survivor got unhooked within 32 meters of them for 10 seconds. The survivor is still susceptible to attacks and powers, of course, though, but then again, with all that stuff, they're probably going to have a hard time unless the killer remembers where the hook is. The effects are now lost when performing conspicuous actions, and the effect lasts for 3 seconds after being healed or full health state. And the effects are disabled when all generators are completed, except for the, of course, haste and endurance, which lasts for about 10 seconds. And for the unique hook bonuses, when you hook a survivor for the killer, you get Bloodlust for 15 seconds, and it resets once enter a chase, and is disabled once all generators are powered, and you only get a 10% blood point multiplier on the match score at the end of the trial. Finally is the slugging reduction update, which then explains for the self-recovery and dying state stuff for the survivors mostly. This includes after being down by the killer, the resolve bar will appear. This will last for 120 seconds to fill up, after which, once it does, it will allow you to be able to pick yourself up, of course. Progress, however, does not reset when between downs. The resolve bar fills 33% faster for each additional survivor currently in the dying state. And once the resolve bar is full, the survivor gains the ability to pick themselves up from the dying state for the rest of the match. And note, the survivor must fully recover each time to do so. And for the dying state, over time, the crawling speed of in the dying state will be increased when left in the dying state for too long, from about 0.7 meters a second to 1.5 meters a second. Now, as you can probably tell by this is probably one of the bigger reasons why a lot of people, including myself, were not very happy by this and what's pushing us away. If you probably couldn't tell, survivors are basically given so much basically of an extra hand in this compared to killers. You see, all the killer, well, the slugging reduction update one only affects survivors, of course. So the thing is though with that one, even though I would say it's not super much big deal, the only thing is mostly about this stuff is that it only is gonna make it pretty tricky for like killers like the twins and stuff like that, even though despite how busted they are, they'll struggle so much trying to deal with this because they'll have those people really rocking and rolling with this Cells anti-slugging reduction thing. And because of this, it ends up breaking the flow of gameplay, because that means if you're trying to simply take someone out, but then you want to make sure to slow down the game to make it easier for a survivor to go pick them up, or maybe make it harder for them to work on the generator because they got to worry about the pressure of the killer coming after them, or deal with the fact that there's still someone on the ground, it ends up becoming a struggle mostly because there will be constant amounts of them, obviously, you know, being able to progress and stuff like that, and then be able to, of course, eventually pick themselves up, of course. Now, obviously, it's only 120 seconds, and even though it does not reset, it's only 120 seconds, so if they pick themselves up over time, this gives you time to basically go after another kill, like survivor when you're playing killer, to basically down them and slow down any gens, so it's not really a big deal. And not to mention the fact that eventually, even if they get picked up over time and still haven't resetted their, you know, down phase, you could still easily be able to get them down very easily and then go pick them up right there. And not to mention, it's usually not that difficult to eventually just go ahead and take care of them and then go hook them, or just take care of them, go take out someone else and be quick about it. I mean, I feel like with the slugging one, it's just not a crazy big deal, but it's still a problem sometimes for the fact that, again, that if it fills up faster when more additional survivors are currently dying state and it has 120 seconds, doesn't reset. So there's not really a big deal for me too much often with this one, but it can also be quite a mix to see how this goes. I mean, I have nothing too risky about this, but I feel like it will break sometimes the flow with like twins, stuff like that, if they can deal with that. But the main focus of the bunch I will mention is just the tunneling reduction update, which that one is favorable to survivors than killers. Killers only get tier 1 bloodlust for 15 seconds once you hook a unique survivor. So that means if you hook someone different than you get this. The problem about that is, though, is that one is that it only resets when you start a chase, meaning you only are getting a small bit of a haste boost just so you can catch up to another survivor somewhere else, and then it starts over again, though. Not to mention, it's also brought to my attention, I believe, that which I found out that I think if you use, certain powers or something like that, it will tend to reset that still too as well. So that means if you obviously use, like, for example, I found out that if you use Ghostface's Shroud, it just cancels out completely. Meaning that means you cannot use this with Ghostface so easily unless you want to remain, you know, stealthy and stuff like that, which makes it kind of worthless in that kind of way. So it's really pitiful for that for a killer. But survivors get almost everything they got. I don't want to sound like this is like, oh, like I'm trying to make this like a killer side or survivor side moment, but it does feel like that way when you got survivors getting all these benefits. It's basically them having like easy mode turn on them, basically. And don't get me wrong, I understand tunneling is such a big deal and can be such a problem to deal with sometimes, and we're all trying to work our best to not do this, and people just sometimes tend to do it still, and very, very reasonably so, because if there's like moments where gen rushing is happening or you need to get someone hooked, at least you gotta at least focus on somebody so you can get the kill and stuff like this. But now with these like features, you're basically getting them everything you could possibly imagine. They got extra haste and endurance like they do. They got this new elusive thing to hide them from all things. They can see the killer's aura. They can like keep us lingering on for 3 seconds after they've been fully healed or for a health state. And they basically can keep doing this until the all generators are powered up. And then once after that, they just get the 10% haste and endurance for 10 seconds. And it's just, it really makes it difficult for the kill to do this, because that means if someone's a really big focus right there and they don't want to go after someone who might be a big deal, who's really good, and they need to get those kills, they want to go after the person that is the easiest they can do, or try to go after someone else. And it could be difficult when there's someone who might be insusceptible to basically wanting to get chased so much, which could make it difficult for the killer to get those sacrifices if someone is just really that good. And don't get me wrong, people are going to be good at the game no matter what, and even killers can be good too. But the thing is, though, is that that's the reason why most time it could be a struggle with, to the point where a killer needs to tunnel sometimes, when they got someone who's really got all the outrageous amount of perks taken care of, and then they obviously just know what to do to take over the system of the game and know how to deal with it in the trials, and they just eventually just have to find a way to tunnel someone else specifically to get rid of them. It could be a pain, but there could be other better ways to handle this. It would be nice if also, instead, if they just give everyone blood point bonuses, as like right now, Killer is the only one who has that right there at 10%. But there should be a little bit more to that, and it should be just the incentivized with both sides. So maybe instead of giving all survivors these benefits, they should have just given them the same thing as well. A 10 to, if not, maybe give both a 20% blood point multiplier for each time they keep maintaining their goals. Try to take out different killer survivors each time as a killer and hook them. And for survivor, just trying to maybe more incentivized to be more like chase a bit more, or give it to them whenever tunneling does exceptionally happen, of course, so they can deal with that to the point where eventually people might DC, or eventually, if you know, something like that. But instead, all these stars get all these benefits to basically get an easy way out through the game, which could lead killers to struggle to not really be able to play the game very easily, because they'll have trouble, and it just hurts the game so badly. And I say this as someone who likes to play both sides. I have my fair share of good and bad tough matches whenever I play Survivor or Killer, but either way, I understand the pain that we have to deal with Survivor getting tunneled, and I know how it feels painful for me as playing Killer when tunneling someone else, because when I deal with a tough match, I gotta try to get the kill. I can't just simply just give them a pass. The killer's role is to kill, as Survivor's role is to survive. And there could be much better things they could have done than all this for Survivor and so little for Killer. They could have just kept the BP bonus like I've been saying before in my previous video on that, or just simply don't touch it and just leave it be. At this moment, it's probably just better that way now. As much as painful it is, people just gotta just accept it and just go with the flow. Even I had to learn to accept it. And in the end, it's become a very big issue right there about those problems. However, though, it looks like in due time, eventually they actually have listened to the community and decided to hold off on it. If you've seen, they have actually decided to avoid using it. And the only thing that got added somewhat with dynamics is their little like improvements to the hook, which I actually did not know about that until I looked in the matter of the update. And apparently added some more better, making it better to fill faster based on like the, how much how long the killer stays by the hook, and even besides just simply just the distance, of course, as at certain positions, of course, and even also made a result bar for now it's visible to all other survivors, which is pretty cool. And even also make it where if survivors get unhooked, they gain now 15 seconds instead of 10 seconds of the haze endurance stat effect, which is really cool. And I gotta say though, that is pretty good that they are doing this. I think that's a great job that they are pulling, and for that at least. But it also shows exactly how problematic this is. Don't get me wrong though, like balancing things are not easy. It's not easy. It's not going to be swiftly done, but there are so many ideas people have come up with that feedback's been going through, and yet they would still come up with these ideas for the anti-tunneling, anti-slugging thing. Has resulted in just so much harsh, tough pain to deal with this, and it just makes it harder to really find any love and attention to the game itself, and it's pushing a lot of people away. And yeah, I mean, It's one of the bigger reasons why I say DBD is struggling. Okay, now this brings down to now my final thoughts. Why do I lead this all right here to this point for? And especially with the announcement of the Halloween chapter come to an end and of DBD and going away. It's just with all the additional very tough decisions and mistakes and errors that have happened for DBD for a while now, it's left a very hard, bleak moment for the future DBD now. A lot of people are losing their trust, they're losing the interest and fun, and behavior is honestly, to me, kind of running out of time right now. If they don't learn from this very soon, this will only impact the game for the future. And right now with the, if you've seen the 10th anniversary now just been announced, this will be a pretty big deal that needs to be made right now by behavior to either make or break the game. And what needs to happen is this. I want everyone to at least learn to just try to vote with your wallet, vote with your time, try not to play the game or give it too much money right now, and keep speaking up to the devs, to the team of behavior, to let them know they need to take action on this. They need to focus on this heavily. They gotta listen to the fans. Otherwise, many people are just gonna lose interest, and that's it for Dead by Daylight. And behavior needs to listen. While that one hook-related thing I mentioned earlier is a good step for something right there, it's already very bleak for the many times they've already attempted for the tunneling and slugging, and even questionable with how the Chillbone event was like that, with how kind of very stingy it was for the lack of rewards that was going for that. And now, on top of this, with all the concerns of what's going to be happening for the future with the additional content right now, especially now we're seeing more licenses disappearing now. I mean, first was Stranger Things now at the time, and even though it's back now, but still. Pinhead, Hellraiser's gone now for the second chapter, and now finally for this third one, it's Halloween, the first ever license to ever appear into Dead by Daylight's realm. It's gonna leave a big stain on the game, and it's gonna make it harder for people to really feel any enjoyment of it, and eventually most new and old veteran and fans alike will quit the game. They'll move on to something else. There's so many games that are coming out right now, and most of us are starting to shift towards playing something else, including myself. I mostly have been the variety person. I've been playing multiple and streaming multiple different games, and that's just kind of what I want to do because I got so many options. And even though I am always looking to find a main game I'm interested in, I got plenty of that right now that will really fill my enjoyment of gaming. But DBD was something that did, and I would hate to say I'm done with it. I haven't said it yet. I haven't confirmed it yet. I haven't really decided to. I just decide to take a break from the game. And even though I will every now and then maybe try to make some videos on the stuff and discuss it, I only do because I love this game. And even though I'm not a veteran as much as many other people are, many people have been playing this since the beginning more than me, I still really love the game, and it's enjoyable, and I want to see this game continue to flourish because I love horror, and it has many iconic horror IPs. It has original fun ideas, and the game is just enjoyable, despite my stress I feel about the game sometimes, about the issues that plagued it. So much stuff. And I hope for the best that just maybe, there will be a hopefully good future to see for the future of Dead by Daylight. We might just hopefully see that, maybe. But I better not get my hopes up for sure. And I hope for the best everyone hears us out and does what that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Keep speaking out on this. Don't give them your time and money, and hope that behavior will listen and may do everything that will, make up. Hopefully keep up with better updates that will listen to the community. And even though many of the ideas that come up might be ideas from the community so that they wanted to, they could have been done better. And as for the grind, that should also be some that's, despite how minuscule that is to me right there, honestly, it's still a big, stupid idea. The fact that even the Chillbone event barely had the better rewards compared to its last year or so. And it just needs to be better for the future, of course. They've done it consistently for many of the events, and all of a sudden now they just slow down on that now. That's not a good sign for Christmas, and not a good sign for any future event too. And I hope best that behavior will hear on that, so that maybe, just maybe, things will get better, and then a lot of us can come back to the game. Because DBD, I don't want to say he's dead or anything like that, but I will say, like I said, it's struggling. It's reaching a point where it's not at the same level of hype, the same level of love, the same level of passion both the developers and the community have done for this game for so long. And we got to make sure that passion is never forgotten, nor is it lost. But it only starts with us simply speaking our minds out and the developers hearing and doing something about it in the way that needs to be heard for the fans. So I hope for the best that this trial never truly ends. And at least if it ever does end, it can end on a good high note for years to come. Otherwise, it will be a sad ending for Dead by Daylight. Not now, not anytime soon, but hopefully not now to the extent where it will be in such a very bad light where it's struggling. So I really hope for the best that things can get better for DBD soon. I really hope so. But anyway, guys, that is going to be it from me for the video. Thank you all so much for joining in, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments section below your thoughts on DBD, if you are still playing it or not. Let me know what your thoughts on the situation, what you think could be better. I'd love to get a little discussion going on this and hope for the best that DBD will improve and won't struggle any further. And if you found this video helpful, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and show your support here at the Pizza Party. Make sure to check out my multi-link down below in the description. If you guys want to check out everything else that goes on the Pizza Party, like check out my other platforms where I stream besides here on YouTube. Come join my Discord server, all that stuff. Follow my socials, anything like that as usual. But with that being said, thank you all so much for joining, guys. I'm your host, Game Pizza Boy, host of the Pizza Party. Talk to you guys later. Have keep on partying, keep on gaming, and peace.